today we have a very special guest. I think this is a guest that a lot of you are looking forward to listen to understand where we are headed, where the economy is headed, where the digital economy is headed, because today it is about digital transformation. We have a very special guest today. We have Mr. Ajit Mohan, who's the MD and CEO of Facebook in India, and he's driving Facebook's growth in India. Welcome, Mr. Mohan.
Thank you, Anurag.
It's a pleasure to chat with you, and also is my co-founder of Exchange for Media and my friend Naval. Me and Naval will engage with Ajit on a conversation about digital economy, about digital transformation, about what's happening to digital media and where we are headed. Ajit, how have been the last 100 odd days for you on a personal and a professional basis?
I think very two-sided, Anurag. I think one part of it has been difficult. I've been largely in some version of lockdown and work from home for almost 4 months now. I have a 6-year-old and a 1-year-old. So you can imagine the effort to keep them engaged in the house. And at the same time, I think like everyone else around the country and frankly around the world, I think we're all trying to get our head around what does it mean in terms of addressing the virus outbreak, seeing kind of extraordinary impact. I now know people who have COVID, and the secondary impact of people just struggling with the experience of the last 3 months. So it's not been easy. And I think obviously as a country, we are kind of going through a pretty difficult moment. And at the same time, I think the other side of it has been really seeing people come together in so many ways. In Facebook as a company, in communities around India, and at least on the work front, I feel like we have had this fairly extraordinary opportunity to be helpful to India's fight, both on the healthcare front as well as on the economic front. On the healthcare front, we continue to work with multiple state governments as well as Government of India in terms of making sure that people have access to accurate health information. This was quite important in the early weeks. I think it continues to be important, but it was even more important in March and April when there was so much uncertainty, and it was so important to work with the government and the WHO to make sure that people had access to the right information. And I think we were able to partner with these institutions. And then a lot of our current focus is on...
And just to build on what Ajit is saying, this was free advertising. Facebook doled out money and its advertising to make sure that the right information on COVID and what the health precautions or immunity boosting or social distancing norms, it was in terms of a public health awareness campaign. So I just wanted to tell you that it was a pro bono effort from Facebook.
Yeah, and I think, thank you for that, Anurag. We did create a $100 million global fund for small businesses. And what we actually did on Facebook was we actually created a COVID hub. And given sort of the scale of Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, both in India and around the world, I think one of our thought was, how do you leverage that scale to direct it towards doing the right thing during the crisis? So on Facebook, we created a COVID hub, which was an information hub that gave people a one-click access to all the right kind of information. Just to give you a number, 2 billion people saw that hub, and 350 million people kind of clicked on and actively engaged with the information aggregated there. And right now, I think while that continues, Anurag, I think the equally important agenda is thinking through how can we be useful to India in terms of the economic revival, especially focused on the revival of small businesses. I think that's always been a particular strength of ours in terms of helping small businesses activate markets, reach out to their customers, and that's where a lot of the energy is going as well. So tough times, but we do believe that given the platform we are, given the mission that that we believe in, that we have a useful role to play.
Ajit, you put your money where the mouth is. When I say you, I mean Facebook Inc., I mean Facebook globally. By Facebook investing um, almost $9 billion in Geo, partnering with Geo, you showed a confidence in India. Tell us, how does Facebook look at India when it's look at global plans?
Yeah, totally, Anurag. I think a couple of things, Anurag. Our investment in geo platforms was 5.7, but I think you're framing it as sort of that investment kind of set the context for a lot of follow-up investments, and all credit to Geo for kind of pulling in an outstanding roster of investors. I think two or three things, and I'm glad you said that, Anurag, because I do think while money can never be an accurate or shouldn't be a right metric for a company's excitement about a country, but in this case, I think it does give you a good view of how how leaned in we are on India, and I think it comes from a few different places. One, if you look at Facebook and WhatsApp, the largest communities on both Facebook and WhatsApp are from India. Instagram has been growing dramatically. So clearly, there is a special place that India occupies because there's a role that each of these three apps play in India that I genuinely believe, living here, that it's deeply immersed in the fabric of India. I'm not sure whether anyone can conceive of a world in which our daily lives don't begin and end with WhatsApp. Facebook, plays a particular role in connecting friends and family, and Instagram. And we just made this very exciting announcement of extending the testing of our short form video product, Reels, into India a couple of days ago. Instagram is where culture is created, and that's true in India as well. So I think that's one reason, but I think it goes beyond that, Anurag. I think what I have seen in the last 18 months that I've been here is there's a genuine commitment to doing right for India for the long term. I think we are not looking at it as, what is the business that can be built here? What is the revenue that can be built here in the next 12 months or 2 years or 3 years? Obviously, we do focus on that. I think we're a private company, and we do look at growth and revenue. But I genuinely think the driver for India, for Facebook, is that we genuinely believe that this is a country that is in the middle of a very exciting economic and social transformation. And if you look at the last 5 years, digital plays a particular role in that transformation. No country, not even China, has gone through a period where in 4 years, we have seen maybe 400, 450, 500 million people come online and have access to affordable, high quality mobile broadband. And to where we started, Geo played a pioneering role in it. But if you look at it from a country point of view, we have brought more people online to good quality, cheap access than any other country has in the shortest period of time. And when I look at that, that's just the beginning. That just sets the foundation for lighting up all kinds of industries. We have brought consumers online. The next task is to bring 60 million small businesses online. And then imagine, Anurag and Naval, you follow this sector. I mean, we have seen what it has done to the media world, and I was fortunate to play a role in it in terms of starting
Hotstar.
and leading Hotstar. But imagine what this can do to lighting up education, health. So I do think we see the fact that India is in the middle of this transformation, and then we look at it and say we have a role to play in that transformation for the next 20, 30 years. So it's a multi-generational arc. And the third part of it, I think it would be wrong for me not to call it out, is I think as an American tech company, I think we value the fact that it's an open democratic country. And there's, I think, alignment of values, and Facebook thrives when societies are open, when there's an open internet. And I think we have had the privilege to benefit from India's openness. So I think all of these come together, Anurag, in terms of driving our excitement about India and our commitment to India for the long term.
Thank you, Ajit. There are lots of questions I could keep on chatting for 2-3 hours. But just, when you were preparing, I did congratulate you about Reels. So, that's really very fast to market. And, you seized on the opportunity of the first. And with your traction on Instagram and Facebook being Facebook and WhatsApp, I think you have a better chance to kind of match TikTok's erstwhile popularity. So tell us, was this product in the works before the ban happened, or you actually put it together in 4 or 5 days and got it going?
Anurag, we do move fast, but we don't move that fast. It was in the works. It was in the works. I think the idea, if I step back and just to share with you, Anurag, what's really happened is, if I look at the growth of Instagram in the last couple of years, it's been phenomenal. And I do genuinely think that sometimes there's been a public narrative, there's been a media narrative that Instagram is sort of this premium product that works really well in Bombay and Delhi. But the reality that we see is Instagram was already deeply into India. And in the last 4 months or so, we saw even more momentum. So even before the extension of the Reels testing into India, we had already seen that Instagram was a lot more immersed into India 2 and 3 in a way that I don't think was recognized. And reality is, Instagram has more than 1 billion users globally. What makes Instagram distinctive, what continues to be different about it around the world and in India is this is where culture is created. Instagram has a special role in defining and shaping global culture. And in the context of that, I think we felt it has been extremely successful with IGTV, stories on Instagram, the feed itself. We thought there was an opportunity to create a product around short form video, and that has been in the works for a while. And one of the reasons why India is one of the first markets where Reels is being tested goes back to the beginning of our conversation. I think it again goes into the framing of India as a special place for Facebook as a company. And in that context, I think the reality these days is India is right at the top of the chart whenever we talk about any new product introduction. And therefore, when you talk about Reels, it made sense that India would be in the early set of countries where Reels is being tested. But I think Instagram continues to play a material role in defining culture. Just to give you a sense, we have a program called Born on Instagram that we started last year. When we started rolling it out, and the idea was to roll it out to 15 cities, we kind of saw excitement from creators from smaller towns, not just the large cities, that kind of gave a sense of the extent to which Instagram has gone deep into India. And for me, frankly, Anurag, the reason I'm excited about Reels is I genuinely think this could be the moment where big global stars could come out of India. And the reality is, Instagram is a place for big celebrities who have existing followership, and that'll continue to be the case. But this also opens the door for new creators. And to the extent that we can have an existing celebrity or creator go global, or someone completely unknown today who can become a global star, that'll be the moment where I will declare success.
Thank you, Ajit. I remember in October 2012, I was at the Facebook headquarters, and I remember it was the day when Facebook hit a 1 billion mark. It was October 2012. I am not sure of the date. And there was celebration on the Facebook campus. I'm happy that the next big product in the Facebook stable, if I may call, has come out of India. And as you rightly said, the next global star could be an Indian in terms of reels. Now, I want to come to, digital transformation has been accelerated by COVID. I mean, no amount of CEO dialogues, bringing in consultants, incentivizing digital transformation, produced the kind of acceleration last 3.5 months have done. So you already talked about education technology. You talked about health in terms of telemedicine and teleconsulting in healthcare, media and content you talked about. But tell us, what are the other areas that we still haven't seen that have the potential to transform Indian economy or Indian lives?
Yeah, I think three or four places, Anurag, and I think I would almost say, if I step back and think about it, there are a few things happening, right, which could spur multiple industries. One is, as you mentioned, the offline to online transition is accelerating, and I do think um, if you look at fundamentally the foundation of the digital economy, in many ways, the one side of it looks really good. We've brought a lot of people online and they're engaged online. I do think the acceleration of the small business to go online will complete will connect the dots on this in a way where you can actually have an explosion in growth of transactions between consumers and businesses, right? And India is as around 60 million or so small businesses. They account for a disproportionate share of the economy and jobs. So I think as these small businesses come online, and part of our effort with the partnership with Geo is actually to see COVID, in many ways, the virus outbreak, as you pointed out, has given people a taste of what the digital economy could look like, right? I think now the opportunity is to build on that and entrench behaviors, right? Establish those behaviors. And for me, anything we can do to accelerate the transition online of these small businesses, that's a big story. I think the second theme is um, um, virtual presence, right? All of us have discovered that you can get things done without necessarily getting onto 20-hour flights or 2-hour or 6-hour door-to-door commutes between Delhi and Mumbai. And I think as families, I mean, I see this on my Facebook feed. I think the consistent story is families discovering that they should get into patterns of being on video calls every week. I mean, I'm definitely doing that a lot more. We didn't discover video calls in the last 4 months, but I think the outbreak kind of created the trigger for that behavior. So I think anything that essentially introduces new tools that make the experience of connecting either with friends and family or colleagues and business partners more real, I think that's going to be an opportunity. Obviously, that goes to the heart of a lot of the work that we do in our products, right? In terms of bringing together friends or communities. But I think virtual presence, especially around AR and VR, is going to be a big part of it. That's going to be new. I definitely think the cluster that you talked about, where fundamentally core services, where we have spent the last 2,000 years designing experiences or constructs that are grounded in terms of people being in the same room teaching, right? The instructor, the teacher, the guru is in the same room as the students. The experience of getting counsel from doctors, it's pretty clear that all of that will face extremely positive disruption. And for me, the first wave of this disruption, Anurag, has been purely about, okay, let's simulate the experience of being in a classroom or consulting a doctor by putting everyone on a video call. I think the real innovation will come when we start building real tools that are native to this experience, that actually in many ways it's not this is 40% below what used to be the experience. I think it gets exciting when it's 40% or 4x above what that experience was. Can we make education a lot more interesting, because you're suddenly giving kids the tools uh, on their laptop or on their tablet or on the, or very likely on the mobile phone? Are there sensors that make the whole experience of consulting with the doctor even more relevant and useful than the old experience? So that's clearly another area. I think uh, obviously the space of, you know, if we're going to be spending a lot more time at home and we still want to connect with the world, uh, you know, the whole everything from storytelling to entertaining, whether that is a TV show or a gaming experience, I think all of that are going to see very positive disruption. Again, you know, the streaming platforms have established that you can watch the shows that you want to at a time that you want. I think the next wave will be how can you make that experience a lot more immersive. So I do think some of the boundaries between what we call gaming today and what we call entertainment today, all of that are going to break down quite rapidly. And then the last one for me is uh, this clearly, whether driven by some of the behaviors that we have all learned, where our world physically has shrunk a bit. It may have expanded in terms of, you know, connecting with the world, but physically it's shrunk a bit. And then if you look at some of the geopolitics, I suspect at least for a while there may actually be a premium on hyper local experiences. That may mean that, you know, we will put a premium on uh, buying things that are local, or connecting with products, you know, organic food that are, you know, grown in a community that we trust, that are close to us. So I do think there's a tremendous opportunity for anyone looking at creating good, robust, trustable, hyperlocal products and services, because my sense is consumers will, at least there will be a window where they're more tuned towards hyperlocal in a way that they may not have been earlier.
Thank you, Ajit. I was just thinking of a headline, and I thought of one. The digital economy will also be an experiential economy, because you know, if the immersion of AR, VR, or new tools that make the digital experience close to what the physical experience was, or even better in some cases.
Even better.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think the all of the, yeah, sorry, go on.
possibly some of the behavior change will become permanent and sought after. You would choose to stay in home and do some of the things that you would do otherwise physically. You were saying that. I'm just thinking about what you were saying.
No, I agree with you, and I do think, Anurag, that a lot of the current effort is to be closer to what, you know, the real experience is. I do think at some point we'll kind of get over it and say, let's just make this a lot more better, where you know, whether it's immersive, experiential, it adds even new dimensions. We're not just solving for a world that we lost. We're actually hopefully creating a world that is even better. So I agree with
And
you.
there to discover, and
Yeah.
there to be discovered.
Yeah.
Things that we couldn't discover in a day because it involved travel, we could possibly do that. So that's the positive dimension. I want to ask you my last question before I bring Naval in. See, you talked about media, you talked about entertainment, gaming, in the lines between what is media and what is technology and what is gaming and what is education. All those are blurring, right? But OTT has become the new playground for content, if I may say. Audiences have shifted there. Movie launches are happening on OTT because the physical theaters are closed. Now, tell us, you did start the Hotstar business for Star India. You were there when Disney acquired Star India, and you have a point of view on the media business. And you worked in consulting in McKinsey, Arthur D. Little. So you also have a kind of a deep view on what's happening in the world. So tell me, what is the scenario you see in OTT 12 to 24 months from now? There are too many OTTs with too little differentiation, trying to do the same stuff, trying to go after the same consumer. So tell us, how do you see the OTT space kind of moving up in the next 12, 14 months?
Yeah, Anurag, I think, I mean, one, it's been fabulous to see all the innovation continue at Hotstar. I think the release of movies straight to Hotstar is exciting. I think, the entire thesis for Hotstar was that, in a country and a world, frankly, where everyone had a smartphone, you had the opportunity to have a lot more screens than even television screens or theaters. So I do think that it's good to see that arc continue, that we're continuously seeing innovation in that space. I think on your question, a few things, Anurag. One, the technology industry, and I think the streaming business now has technology at the core of it. In many ways, obviously, I think content will play a big part, but in many ways, I think the success of Hotstar was not just because it had a compelling content portfolio. I think many other media companies did. I think it was because in the very early years, we were clear that our ability to succeed would be based on our ability to create a great product. So technology and engineering was at the heart of it. I do think one of the characteristics of the technology space is that you are seeing in every sector that technology is enabling new business models, new enterprises, and new entrepreneurship. And therefore, it will create a lot of choice for consumers. And I'm not sure whether, like in the broadcasting world earlier, but equally it's true here as well, I'm not sure whether there's a particular number to be solved for. I don't think it has to be that there is a specific number of streaming platforms that is the right number. Consumers love the choice. And I think the real question is, over the longer arc, which are the platforms that are building models that are sustainable, that continue to innovate. And frankly, I think you're already seeing, sort of, there may be a large number of platforms.
Separation of boys from boys to men. Separation between boys and men, right?
Yeah. And I think that's already started to happen. I think it's very clear who are the ones breaking out. I do think if you look at the next 12 to 24 months, I think there's one conversation about the particular role that subscription can play in creating sustainable revenue models for streaming platforms. So that's clearly interesting. I think there is second one, and I know Uday has spoken about it, for example, recently in terms of the particular role that streaming platforms can play in bringing live sports back into action. I think there's an exciting canvas there. I think Hotstar always innovated on sports, and there's an exciting opportunity there. And then I think the third sort of big lever for the platforms is the conversation that we were having now. In a world where a lot more people are spending time, there's appetite for content consumption. What is the innovation agenda? How are you fundamentally going to transform the experience of watching, whether it's a TV show or a movie or a live sports or news, whether it's short form or long form video? How are you fundamentally going to provide innovation for two constituencies? And I think that's quite important. One constituency are consumers, right? They have already signaled that there is massive appetite for consumption. So how are you fundamentally raising the bar of the experience, what you call experiential, immersive? I think that whole canvas is waiting to be discovered, but also for creators. I think one of the exciting moment for me, again, bringing the conversation back to Reels and Instagram, is It's an introduction of a entirely new set of tools for the creators, and this creator can be anyone. The conventional wisdom then was live cricket won't work on a mobile screen because people will only want to watch it on a large screen television. So the world is now the world has changed quite a bit, where now the assumption is that it can be mobile can be the primary vehicle for it. So I'm excited that the world has changed and is thinking in such a short period of time. But I think to your question, to answer it directly, um, I'm not sure. The reality is that whether it's Hotstar or Z5, or frankly even Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, these are all partners of Facebook, right? I don't think we look at content or live sports as we must have a particular content. Frankly, I think the world in which we come in from, Naval, we think about it as we have a secret sauce that kind of makes each of these platforms such a big part of people's daily lives, right? In Facebook app, just to distinguish between Facebook as a company and the app, on the Facebook app, the heart of it is that it's connecting friends and family, and then they engage around things that they are interested in. On Instagram, it's even more skewed towards things that people really love, the brands that they pursue, the interests that they pursue. And I think we think about it as, and I'm assuming that you also asked about cricket because of our partnership with ICC around clip rights for the World Cup. We think about it as, these friends and families and communities, let's say on Facebook, are very interested in cricket, or they're very interested in music or cooking. And we think about it as, are there opportunities for us to serve them what they're interested in a way where we can bring in partners, right? So in this case, the partner was the ICC, and we did think that because there is such a large set of people interested in cricket on Facebook, and they want to have conversations around it, they want to share clips of moments that they want to talk about, there was an opportunity to partner with ICC to light up that interest. It is not, it's not meant to grow our user base, because frankly, the reality is, given the followership of these platforms, it's very large. So it's more to serve the cause of, can we help communities and interest groups that are already there and they want to have conversations around it? And when we do that, to the earlier conversation, we may have an opportunity to create serious product innovation, and that is the pursuit. Maybe there's an opportunity to create the future of social video, right? Can we enable people watching something together, or which is what we were trying to do with Watch Party? So I think the lens in which we think about it is really centered around, what are the interest communities have, and what partners would want to work with us to engage those groups. And with ICC, there was an opportunity, but I don't think, we look at it from, we have to bid for live cricket rights. It is not we don't think like a media company, right? We're not a media company. And therefore there is no particular interest in a particular content, is the reality of it. I'm not spinning it. It's just the reality of it. I would love to partner with Star and Hotstar. In many ways, just given my own background there, would love if there is an opportunity to partner. But I don't think we're at the place where we are saying, let's go and buy very expensive cricket rights, including live rights.